Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Two Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got producer, writer, Shachi Sharma with me. Hopefully, I got that somewhere close.
You got it perfect. So it's perfect.
That's very rare for me. But your name actually is pronounced close to the way it looks.
Yes, in fact, I'm originally from India, so people kind of find it to be a tongue twister. So they kind of go like Sachi, and I've heard the weirdest names for myself. But you got it right the first time, so kudos to
All
you.
right. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, let's start this way and tell me a little bit about how you got into the entertainment business. That's obviously a difficult business to go into. How
I
did you
know.
get into it?
So, wow, this story actually is like 15, almost 14 years old.
Yeah.
So I actually always wanted to do something in the movie industry, but I didn't know what like I should do. So I used to write books and was very creative person, but I didn't know how to channel that energy correctly. And one day, a friend of mine, he told me that he was a script writer, and he
Yeah.
told me that, I need a female perspective on a script that I'm writing. So can you help me? Because you're a writer, can you help me with your thoughts and stuff? And suddenly, I helped him, and then here I was because he wanted me to come with him to the narrations and all the stuff that we do to pitch the script along. So I kind of started understanding how a film script is written, and I kind of
Right.
started working with one of the biggest film production houses in India. And that's how I started, they kind of taught me everything, like how do you
Yeah.
actually write a script, how things translate onto screen. And um and then like it all just happened to me. So I did, at that point I had no idea what like a producer does on a film set. I
Right.
didn't know. I just thought a producer is just a person who puts money onto the film, and that's it.
Right.
Like they figured that part out, and that's all I thought. And I didn't know, what is the work about. And so I had my best friend. She was, studying in London, and her housemate had made this short film called Time Out. And he showed it to me, and he said, I'm pitching this I want to pitch this in India. And the short film had gone to about 26, 27 very major film festivals. Now,
Yeah.
so it was doing well outside. It was a story of, an Indian protagonist. So I thought that, okay, fine, let's pitch it around and let's see what happens with it. And because I was working for this big production house, I told him, listen, all these things just happen in movies. Like, people
That's
don't
right.
really get this opportunity, because I used to see that every day, dejected faces and things like that. And all the films that I was also, writing or working on, they were being kept in the script bank of the production house, but they were not getting made, into films. So I was just like, pitch your, he was making a feature of the short film. So I told him, pitch it. And he was like, I don't know anyone in the city. Can you just come along with me?
That's
So I
right.
said, okay, I'll come along with you. And suddenly, after like 8 or 9 months, he got the opportunity to pitch his film to the Viacom group. and he got a meeting with the group CEO and the chief of operations and the creative
Good.
director. Yeah, and that was good. And we were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? In this, it was a very corporate setup. Like the first time I'd seen that kind of a setup. And here were like, two writers, one director, one writer. We were literally like 23 years old. We had no idea what we were doing. And we just ended up in that meeting. And so, my friend, my partner, he's my partner now. So he played the film, the short film.
Yeah.
And so these the all these people, they're all like proper suited, well suited and stuff, and they're like, okay, let's make the film. So we were just shocked. We were like, oh, what just happened here? Because the pitch, like making the short film really helped them envision the feature,
That's
and
right.
they really liked the idea. And somehow we just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And they said, we're looking for something like this because we don't have enough material for young adults. That film was back in 2014, the first film on an LGBTQ youth in India. And no one, no big established director producer wanted to make that film. And because we were also young and we kind of understood the younger generation.
Well, and a
um,
decade ago, we really didn't have any of that type of film.
Yeah, so we wrote that film and we took it out there, and it was a proper, Bollywood format film, and they really liked the idea, and they said, this kind of stuff should be made now, because a lot of young people are facing this problem in
Right.
schools, but they don't have any place to talk about. This I'm talking like 13 years ago, like almost 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So at that point, so Viacom Group is basically the parent company of Paramount. So like they kind of run the studio in India along with another partner. And so it was a big big production. So I had no idea that the studio doesn't, they just fund the film and they fund it to a production company. So in this meeting, like at the end of it, suddenly the CEO goes like, so you guys have a production company, right? Like you guys have it. And I was like, oh my God, should I say yes or should I say no? And I just blurted yes. And I had nothing. I didn't know what I'm supposed to do. And, when I walked out of the meeting, like my partner and me were like, what did we just say yes to? Like, we have no idea. So we were like, oh my God, we have like, 30 days. They gave us 30 days to come up with, to send all our paperwork and things like that. And we decided that we'll go back, learn. I called my accountant. I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know anything. And, he kind
Yep.
of taught me everything. I was like, you have 30 days, you have an opportunity. People don't get this opportunity. Just go for it. So that's how I produced my first feature film. One of the things
It
that
sounds like really exciting and very stressful.
it was very stressful.
I mean, that's
It was,
always what I've heard though with
yeah,
the entertainment business. You just say yes, and then you
you just,
figure it out
I,
because
I
the
think that,
opportunities never come along. So when you have that chance, you don't want to do anything to mess it up.
yeah, I mean, that's such a valuable lesson for me because you don't get opportunities, every year or every day. It doesn't
Right.
happen like that. And that's something I learned much later. But at that point, I was just like, oh my God, you just have to learn everything. I learned all the legal requirements. I learned all the, the finance stuff that needs to be done, all the taxation. I used to just go online. I used to read up everything. I used to sit in like the government's, offices. I used to learn everything because, I didn't want to appear as someone who doesn't know anything. So that was something that really taught me because that kind of, made me learn everything because it
That's
was a
right.
feature film, and feature film, is a big deal. The budget of the film was such that I hadn't seen that money in my life. Like I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't come from a very rich family or anything. So because feature films budgets are larger, so when I was signing the contract, my hand was shaking because I was like, what if I don't deliver this film? I can't return this money back. I don't have that money. But the studio people were actually pretty supportive. When
Yeah.
they want to do a project, they were extremely supportive about it, and they kind of told me, listen, the only reason you'll have to return this money is if you don't deliver a film. Now, it could be any film. You will try to make the best film we know, but you have to give us something. So, they kind of eased us and they really helped us out with, the long 100-page contract that you have to
Yeah.
sign.
Oh, yeah. I know. It's very intimidating when you're
Yeah,
looking
it's,
at
it's
that.
super intimidating. But I think for my partner and me, what happened was because we stepped into the world of filmmaking with a studio-backed feature film, things after that got pretty simple for us. So when we were, making our production house, of course, during the feature film production, every third day I used to sit and cry because no idea what was going on around me. The technicians and everyone that we had hired, they had done like, 100 films and 90
That's right.
films. And I remember the first day when, the cinematographer was talking to me about the lenses and, the type of camera they wanted to get for the shoot. I was just like, this is gibberish. Like, I can't understand what they're saying. So every step for me was like I had to Google, I had to learn everything. But it's taught me so much. Like I could, after that we established our production house in order to shoot, corporate films, ads, because it
Right.
kind of requires the same skill set. But it really taught me everything I needed to know. I made all the possible mistakes on that
I mean,
film.
honestly, that's probably the best way to learn.
Yeah, so you just throw yourself into the
Yeah, you
deep end,
just dive into it, make the mistakes.
you
But
cry it out.
usually, though, you don't have a corporation willing to help you with that. If you can't
Yes.
figure it out, they just move on.
Yes, you're so right about that because I have seen like people around me in that corporation. There were so many films that did not release, that did not see the light of the day. That would just people would just get maybe a contract and then things wouldn't work out. And even with me, I've seen that. Even after I made the film, there have been many instances where I have signed contracts and the films did not get made. So it's all part of the thing, which is what I learned now. But at that point, you feel really depressed when such things happen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, did you ever have any desire to kind of step in front of the camera? Any desire to be in the films?
Not really. I mean, maybe when I was like younger, when I was a
Yeah,
teenager, I should think maybe I should, act or something. But when I actually learned, like, started working behind the camera, I really loved the job of a producer because, I'm a control freak. So
right.
I just want everything to be done the way I need it to be done. I'm an organized person,
Yeah,
and one of the skills that one of my mentors told me that I have, which I didn't realize at that point, was I'm able to get things done. Like I'm able to get people to do what I need them to do.
that's
And
right.
that is a huge skill to have, for a producer, because many times you're in very awkward situations. You have to get stuff done from people. And, in the creative business, everyone is just, a little eccentric,
That's right.
in the mindset. Like they
Yeah,
all
it's
are
kind of
creative.
like herding cats at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you said it just perfectly. So, I mean, yeah, it takes a lot because you have to deal with all sorts of people, on
That's
the
right.
film set, and you have to deal with, studios, so you have to know all the corporate jargon and, those kind of things as well. So yeah, I never thought I'll act, but once I got into production, I really thought that was my calling for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean that's pretty great. So the new short film is called Homeless. Tell me what
Yes.
this one's about.
So I'll tell you, there was so I always had this. I used to watch all these films with, dog protagonists,
Yeah,
which were being made in Hollywood and, in the US. And and I was working in India, and I got this opportunity to go to Canada, and just get some global experience as to
yeah,
what was happening. And I took the chances that, let me go there, let me see what's happening. And at that point, there was a film that I was pitching in India, which was a film about an army dog, like, a dog in the canine unit. And I was really pitching it everywhere. And I was just getting rejected from like wherever I was going because they were like telling me that, it's very difficult to make this film because we don't have the right infrastructure here in the country. We don't have a proper dog trainer. And, how are we going to shoot this film? And, big directors are coming to us. It's just not possible. So I was really telling them that just because a big director or, very well-known person cannot do it doesn't mean that I can't.
that's right.
Um, but we do face a lot of like gender politics in India. You kind of are always like questioned that how will you do it.
Right.
So just at that point, other than that, it's a great place, but that does happen there.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had the opportunity to move to Canada, and I had never been to Vancouver in my life before, but I was like, you know what, let's me just go and
Right.
see what the place is all about, because I'm just getting like, a permanent residency on a platter of sitting in India. So let me take a chance. So I went there, and when I land in Vancouver, so I stay on, we have like the west end, like a sea wall in Vancouver that goes across the ocean. And
Yeah.
I decided I'm going to stay in downtown. I'm going to stay right at the sea, and I'm going to make the most of it. And I would see, the first time I went out, I would see these prams, like, and I used to think they're young children. And one day I just looked into the pram, and it was a dog. So I was just like, oh, are people like this dog friendly here? Like, what's going on?
I've always
And
heard Vancouver's very animal friendly.
it's so animal friendly. And I've worked in like many parts of the world, and of course, many cities are dog friendly, but Vancouver takes it to another level. And right behind my house, I would see the underbelly of Vancouver, which are people who are on the streets.
That's right.
And again, with them, I would see dogs with them, like and I was just like, oh my God, this contrast is something, as a newcomer coming into Vancouver and as a creative, person, it kind of, I was like, oh my God, there's such a great story here.
Yeah.
And, I should make this film. So I just went on Facebook, and I kind of, told people, hey, I'm from India. This is my background. I've done so much work. And, I want to make a short film, and it's going to have a dog in the lead. And suddenly I was so shocked, and I was new, to the place. I was just 2 months old in Vancouver. And I got some of the biggest cinematographers, some of the biggest people replying to me and saying, you know what, we want to make this film because it's such a cool film. I love the
That's
story.
great.
Let's do it. And the film that I really wanted to make was about a domesticated dog, like a really cute dog who kind of gets abandoned, and how he finds love with someone on the street. So it's because for the dog is just about love, and that's something I would see very regularly in Vancouver. It's very inspired by one person who I know, who was just staying under my building in the back alley.
Yeah.
And he had a very good looking dog, and I asked him, like, where do you get these dogs from? And he told me that after 2020 there was a huge problem in North America where people were just abandoning dogs, because everyone got dogs during COVID because they were staying at home.
That's right.
But and everything was cute. But when you had to go back to work, unfortunately the shelters started getting full, and people, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reasons are, but they would just leave the dogs, and that was becoming such a huge problem. And the unhoused people, like, they would find these dogs, and they would take care of them. So
Yeah.
it was such a heartwarming story for me. So I just thought that I had to make it. And I really wanted to prove a point, because I wanted to make the film with, a dog as a protagonist. Like, the film is about this dog, and the humans are going to be the supporting characters. So that's the idea we went with. We put an audition, and we had 80 dogs coming in because it's Vancouver.
That's a lot of dogs.
That's a lot of dogs.
I bet
So,
it was madness too.
it was madness because it's so difficult to choose, right? Like, when you have a human actor, you just know, right? When you look at a
Right.
person, you just know that this is my character. But, with a dog, it was just so
Well, you
difficult to,
never know how a dog's going to react.
yeah, you never know. So, we kind of spoke to, their moms and their dads, and kind of narrowed down to 5 dogs, because it was really, necessary for us to make sure that, the dog's parents are also, they understand, like, this is a
That's
film
right.
shoot and it's be tough. So finally we narrowed down to 5 dogs. We met the dogs, we auditioned the dogs. And the dog who's finally in the film is an American bully called Rocco. And he was trained to do photo shoots and things like that, so he knew where his mark is and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And what we also did with his mom was, so we went through the script, we broke it down, we kind of figured out what he can do, what he cannot do. And my partner who directed the film was very clear that we are not going to use VFX in the film. It's going to be what the dog will do, because this is a very like everyday story, and I don't want to make it look
Right.
different in that manner, and make it look as real as possible. So we had like 3 months. We taught Rocco everything, and he was such a fab, like my favorite actor ever to work with.
I love that. I love that. What
Yeah.
kind of dog was he?
He's an American bully.
Oh, yeah, very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. Those are
Yeah.
such cute dogs.
No, he's very cute and he's so gentle. And I remember I used to ask, I used to ask my partner that how are we going to shoot with the dog? There's so much chaos on a
Yeah.
shoot. And this dog was so calm, like, there was camera equipment and everything is, expensive. And he would just sit very calmly, when in between shots, like when the whole set is moving around here, there, he would just sleep, like just like a human actor. I don't know how he did it. He was
The dog
so
was a
smart.
professional.
He was a professional. He was just sleeping, like in between shots, he would go back to sleep, and then when it was, time to shoot, he would wake up, he would do what was needed to be done, and he really pulled it off. So really kudos to his mom and him for training and doing all of that.
I love this story because you're dealing with animals that have been abandoned, but you're kind of dealing with people that society's kind of abandoned a little bit,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the homeless problem that I'm sure the homeless problem that Canada has is very similar to what we have here in the States, and
Yeah.
it's difficult, because you're kind of going through your life not really paying attention to what's around you. But if you
Yeah.
take a second to really look, those are just people. They've just hit a rough patch or whatever it is. And so they're living on the street. And I love the fact that they're finding companionship with these animals that also need to be loved. That's all they want. They just want somebody to love them. And then you've got these
Yeah.
people that are doing that.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
that story because it's
Oh.
not just dealing with abandoned dogs, you know?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we definitely wanted to bring this perspective because, one of the days I remember in the winter of, I landed in Vancouver during February, and I remember one storm, coming in, it was
Yeah.
snowing. And I saw, this person who I spoke about. It was snowing, and he was sleeping without, a blanket, and he had a blanket on his dog. So it was just something for me to see, and during the research I really realized that many shelters where even the humans stay, they don't have like many shelters don't allow dogs. So
Yeah.
many of the homeless people who have dogs, they don't have anywhere to go. So these are the kind of things, and because they don't have companionship, some of them are so alone. Some of them are not, they're not even like, some of them are people who've just lost their jobs,
Yeah.
and Vancouver real estate is so expensive. It's not possible for them to rent an apartment, and they just have to wait, for a very long time. So they're just regular people, some of them, and that was such a reality that shook me. Because coming from India, for me, I've seen homeless people who are who are poor, who are just born into poverty, and that's the kind of problem I had seen all my life. But I never realized that you could just become you could just not have a home just because you've lost your job or you've been laid off,
That's right.
and can't go anywhere, and that's your country. Where will you go? So it's really heart-wrenching. And the person's character that we wanted to show in the film was a person like this, who just had is going through a bad time. He's just someone who wants to do better.
That's right.
And he's reading a book most of the time of how to be a manager. I meet many people in the Vancouver Public Library who just come to use computers in order to send their resumes to potential jobs. And there are people, Vancouver people are amazing, so they kind of people sit there, they help these people out.
That's right.
And that's such an amazing thing to do. They really treat everyone so equally there, and that's like the people are really nice in the city.
I love that. I love that. It's how all of us should be.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's how, like, so I've shown like there are some characters in the movie, so we've shown like a contrast. So the protagonist, who the dog finally lands up with, is someone who wants to do something in his life, and then he has a scuffle with someone else in his neighborhood who's not a nice person, and who's just a drug addict, or maybe just wants to steal things, and is just gotten into that life, unfortunately,
Right.
and there's no out for that person. So we've shown that kind of thing as much as possible, although the film was more from the dog's point of view. So we wanted to keep it to that story, but little bit whatever we could show in a short film of 18 minutes, whatever was possible.
Yeah, I love that. Good for you. It sounds amazing, and it's out there now, right? Where can we watch it?
You can watch it on Amazon Prime in the US. There's a channel called Shorts TV that releases short films from the Academy Awards to all the good films in the world. So I sent my film to them, they liked it, and they've put it on Amazon Prime, so it's available to watch.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they've come up with that channel, because that's how a lot of people do it. You make your short film, and sometimes that's all you're trying to make. Sometimes you're making a short film with the hope of making a full length feature
Yes.
with that. Is that kind of the hope here, is that it gets picked up and you make it into a full feature?
Yes, yes, definitely. I think most people who saw the film,
Yeah,
also told me, because, as I was making the film, I'm also learning a lot more about, the North American world and the culture, and,
right.
the problems people face, and, how to put that across to the audience. So there's a lot. We didn't realize that the bully breed dogs, like, the American bullies, English bullies, the pit bulls,
Yeah,
I didn't know that that was such a huge problem in America and in Canada, where certain cities don't allow them to be domesticated dogs or to be in homes. So I mean, we didn't do it because we had no idea about that at that point. It
yeah,
was just coincidental that Rocco happens to be an American bully. But when I was speaking to his mom, so there's that part of the story which is completely untouched in this
right.
film. And then the part of the unhoused people that you said, there's so much more that we could show about them, and the bond that they share with their dogs. Because sometimes I've seen a story where the dog actually helped a person who went into the drug addiction kind of thing,
Yeah,
and how having a companion in the person's life helped him get out of that
amazing.
situation. So there's such a huge scope, for a feature film for this. And the fact that this film got picked up and, went on Amazon Prime, so it kind of gives me hope that, maybe people want to watch the feature.
I think it
So,
gets made. I think in a year or so you're going to be coming back on, and we're going to be talking about the full picture.
wow. I hope that happens.
Well, and it made it to DirecTV short channel as well, right?
Yes, yes. We had the premiere on May 31st on DirecTV. And it's also going to be releasing in the UK on the Shots TV. They have a TV channel in the UK, so
Yeah,
it's going
yeah.
to come there. And some countries in Europe, like Italy and Belgium, and I think the Netherlands, and then eventually in India, because I really want the film to come out in India.
Yeah,
I want to show it
you
to
want to
all
take
the.
it home, you want to show the homeland. That's awesome.
I
It has to
want
be exciting that it's getting picked up around the world.
Yes, because for a short film, that happening is so rare. I have so many friends who are filmmakers in Canada now, and even in India, even in US. And what happens with short films usually is that you show it in certain film festivals,
That's right.
and then it dies. And then either if someone if you're making a feature, you're right, it kind of lives its life just within a year. And then what are you supposed to do with that? So I just wanted, because I have the experience with my feature film and the other work that I had done in India of getting things distributed, and that's something I'd learned over the years. So I really, after we did all the film festivals, I really wanted this film to have longevity, have come out
Yeah,
somewhere, because that's where people are going to watch it. And of course we have a niche audience. I do understand that, but it kind of helps give you credibility as a producer. For me, for my Canadian work that I'm, putting out there now, um, it's really helpful to, for your film to get distribution,
right.
a distribution deal, and it's like a big thing. And then that'll really help you, with the numbers and all that we'll get, from our distribution partner. So within 6 months, we'll know, is this film getting viewed? Is it not getting viewed?
That's right.
Where are the pitfalls? Where are the problems in the story? Where do people stop? So you have all that data, and that really helps you, in your feature film journey, I feel.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but it totally does because you get that information. If most of your viewers are stopping at a certain point, maybe you need to rethink that point. What's turning them off right there. Or if they're continuing, for most of the movie, maybe you have something there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's something that, filmmakers, and this is something I've learned over the years, is that,
Yeah.
when you're making a product, it's meant for an audience, and you really have to take that feedback really well. And, with each project that we do, we try to, make it better in that situation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that really helps because, you exactly know what people are liking and what they're not liking. And, with online platforms, that's a possibility today. So I think it helps every filmmaker.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, good for you. That's exciting. So the film's called Homeless,
Yes.
and it's on Amazon Prime now, DirecTV, a few other places. It's out there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I wanted to ask you about Time Out. I thought was such a great feature, but you're also working on one called Fat Lady Sriracha.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
can you tell
We
me anything
shot,
about that one?
yeah, I had shot Fat Lady Sriracha about like last 2 years back.
Yeah,
So the film is currently like in post-production. It's a feature film that we had shot in Toronto. It was a beautiful story of this lady and how, she basically works in a food van and how she gets involved with a gangster and what happens with the it's a very cool film with a female protagonist. And we had a fab time shooting it. It was a low budget film, but I think it's come out like really well. And yeah, hopefully we're waiting for it to release someday and kind of go through all the posts. So
yeah. I thought it
hopefully.
sounded like such a interesting story. Who was your lead in it?
Milkania Rojas, it was her first film,
Oh
but
yeah,
we
I've interviewed her.
oh, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Elle,
Okay,
she's
awesome.
lovely. Yeah, she's
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 lovely.
talented
Yeah,
young lady. That's yeah.
yeah.
I think she'd do well as a lead.
She did really well. I think she fit the character so well,
Yeah.
because that film does have some actors who are fairly known. I wouldn't say like the absolute A-listers,
Right.
but definitely we had Carlo Rota on the project.
Yeah.
But this was her first film as a feature, as a feature film. It was the
Yeah.
first film, the lead protagonist. But she was fab. She's such a lovely person, and she was fab.
Yeah, I love talking with her, and she's fairly
Yes.
new, in her
Yes.
career. But
Yes.
yeah, talented.
Fairly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
and she's super
excited to see
talented.
that
No, she's
one.
amazing. She's amazing. So we had a great time working with her. We had some amazing amazing snippets and all from the film. And I think she did such a fab job
Oh, that's
because the
great.
film was all about this woman.
Yeah.
So she's done a fab job in the
No,
movie.
that's really good. When
Huh.
where do your ideas come from? Is it just things like it with the with homeless, where the situation you're just like, oh yeah, I should write something about that, or is it outside influence? Where do most of your ideas come from?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think most of the films or any short film that I'm doing or any feature film that I'm
Yeah.
doing or even a series, I would say like I see it in my surroundings. I'm a very observational person. So I usually end up seeing stuff in my surroundings and so I can and I always want that, a film should be entertaining, but it also does something for society. So it should have like a message at the end, and that's really important for the work that I do because I feel that films are such a big influence and they always bring about a change in society. Even ad films do that to a
Yeah,
large extent. So definitely people are so enamored by, feature films and things that they see on screen that they try to replicate it in their life. So hopefully, even if one person, doesn't abandon their dog, or if one person, in a family understands that, if you're gay, it's not a bad thing. It's
that's
just
right.
how you were made. So those kind of things really move me, and I really want everyone to, live their best life. So I try to take, subjects that I see around me, things that I see happening.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and good for you because doing it that way, you're kind of ensuring that you're going to be passionate about whatever you're making, and that has to be a great driver. It's so hard to make these films if you're not passionate about it. I don't think you get them done.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with you because filmmaking is a tough business.
Yeah,
So, anyone who always asks me like, should I do this or get into it? I always say that you have to be like mad if you want to get into the
that's
film
right.
industry. It's all, sometimes it's not about the money, it's just about the passion. There are projects that, we do for money, and then there are projects that you do for your own creativity and your own, peace of mind and stuff
Yeah,
that you really want to make. So sometimes you just have to work hard, but you don't get paid for it as well.
that's right.
So it just, yeah, it happens so many times. Like, short films don't really pay you much, and even the people who are working on the project do it for the passion. So, when you are the producer, or you are the, creator of the project, it's very important to keep everyone happy and, make sure that they're doing it. It's very tough to do hard work without getting a reward sometimes, and you have to be at it, because it's not that you make the film and, someone picks it up. And for Time Out is now on Netflix worldwide. It's in 180 countries. It
Wow.
took me 7 years to reach that, but I could not have, given up in the middle, because the film got made, it got released in theaters,
Right.
then it came on a smaller OTT channel, then people were downloading it, on torrents in certain countries where, they couldn't release this film. And that's when Netflix picked it up in 2020 during COVID, when they really required content. And when they put it up on Netflix, that's when the film blew up.
Yeah.
So, for people, they just see that, oh, your film is on Netflix, but it's taken me 7 years for that
Yeah, and
film.
if you hadn't pushed it, it never would have went anywhere.
Yeah, it never would have
And you're
happened.
and you're really just you're trying to get it in front of people. The project's
Yeah,
good,
absolutely.
but you gotta have eyes on it, or it doesn't matter if it's good if nobody sees it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's so important. Like, as a filmmaker, like, you're not making stuff for your own living room.
That's
Like,
right.
you have to push it out there. And that, for me, I find it the toughest part as a producer,
Yeah.
because getting people, everyone has an opinion somehow, on a film that people
Sure.
make. So some people like it, some don't. And for Homeless, it took me 2 years for it to reach Amazon Prime. But because it's a short film, I reached out to, I know how many emails I've sent. I've sent emails to more than 900 people, and
Oh
I got
wow.
rejected everywhere. Like, they told me, we don't like the film, there's a part of it that's too long, maybe it should be shorter.
Yep.
So I kind of saw the feedback, and then kind of took the feedback that I thought was correct for the project. And then one day I woke up and Shots TV said, I want to distribute this film, I want to pick it up. And that's something that happened after working so hard on it. So
Yeah.
it's such a
You didn't
journey.
give up.
I didn't give up.
Yeah.
You can't give up.
That's right. No, that's right. You can't. I mean, when it's your baby, you gotta watch it grow up.
Yeah, you're gonna watch it grow up. So that's like part of the job we do. So you have to be at it. So it's something that I learned. I'm actually learning more about distribution now.
Yeah.
So as I keep doing every project, I learn more things, of what people like, what they don't like. So the next short film that I've actually already shot, it's a 6 minute. I've made it shorter in terms of the length.
Oh, that's a
And
quick one.
that's a quick one. Yeah.
What's it about?
It's called Neighborhood Watch,
Yeah.
and it basically stems from. So I live in the West End area, like I said, in Vancouver, and they have all these tall buildings right next to each other. So I always see, when I stand in my balcony, sometimes I see people through their windows. And I always see a story going on, and I keep wondering, what must be happening in their life. I remember watching, a Syrian refugee family who had come in the opposite building, and I always remember watching, their life. There was, it's a couple and their life when they entered their house, there was no furniture, they had no job. I could tell by the way they looked that, they'd come from there. And I would always see them struggling, and then eventually, after a year, I saw them, they're wearing nice clothes, they have a job, they got furniture in their house, they're working remotely
Oh,
on
that's
their
great.
laptops. Kind of, it's something nice to see, So neighborhood watch is actually about bystander intervention for, if what would you do if you saw a case of domestic violence? Um, because what happens is many of us don't do anything about this thing. When we see something, we just kind of say it's your own personal matter, and we kind of look the other way.
That's right.
And because we don't know what to do about it. So I just
Well,
wanted
and
to
that's usually the case. It's not that people just don't care, and some of them I'm sure
yeah,
don't, but most of us, we just don't know what to do.
absolutely.
You're upset
That's
about
yeah.
it, but you don't know how to help, so you just kind of move on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's like, I think that's happened to the best of us. Like when, we hear something or we say something and we get scared, like, what if I call the police, are they gonna be safe? Are we, am I gonna be safe? I just don't know what's the best thing to do. Am I putting them in a worse situation
That's
or
right.
those kind of things? So that's the story I wanted to tell about bystander intervention. And then I also have a non-profit organization that came on board for this film, and that kind of told us what are the things you're supposed to do when such a thing happens. And when you see that, because all of us see such things in our daily lives. So the film is actually it's shot across two balconies
Oh,
in
I like
Vancouver.
that.
Yeah, and it's this, person who wakes up in the morning and just happens to see a girl in the opposite building, and he's just seeing her life through that window. And as he wants to, he's intrigued by her, so he wants to look at her, and as he looks at her, he realizes her life is not what it seems to be.
Right.
And what is he supposed to do? So that's the question we're asking. And because it's a hard-hitting film, like we're really showing people the mirror in the film, but at the end we have given them suggestions of what you could actually do during such a time.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
watch
so it's
that.
yeah. So hopefully it's a shorter film, it's crisper, gonna be edited better. So yeah, yeah, I hope people watch that.
No, I think they will. Yeah, I love that. Well, when that one comes out, you have to come back. You got to come back so we can talk some more about it.
Oh, absolutely. I love talking to you. Such an amazing personality, such an
Oh,
amazing
thank you
person.
so much. Yeah, this has been terrific, and thank you for taking a little bit of time. The film looks great, and I can tell you, my son who edits the podcast for me, thank goodness, um, he's a children's librarian during the day, and he's been showing your film at the library some. He just
Oh,
had it playing
wow.
on Amazon. He's a dog lover. He's got
Oh,
three dogs of his own. And I was telling
oh,
him this is, I'm interviewing the person that helped make this film.
oh.
So he watched it and he said it is terrific. He's just been playing it in the background at the library.
Oh, I'm so happy to know that. That's real audience feedback for me. Especially people who love dogs, I thought would really like this film,
Oh,
because
he
they
did.
really feel for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he loves his dogs. He probably loves them more than he loves most people. So he gets it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said it was just terrific. And he said the it really captures how the relationship between the man and dog, or the people and the dog.
Oh,
And that's
oh.
pretty great. That's pretty
Well, I'm
great.
so happy to know, and I'm sure the entire team would be so happy to know that. And dogs are also my favorite people, so yeah.
Yeah, dogs are pretty great because all they want is to be loved.
Yes. Yeah, and give love. That's
And to
all they
give
want.
love. That's right.
Unconditional.
That's right. Yeah, very. Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time. The film looks great. I know it's going to do well. I love how your process kind of works and how you do the work. It's not like you're taking shortcuts to get anywhere. You're putting the time in, doing the work, and
Oh.
stuff's starting to happen. I'm excited to see where you go next.
Oh, thank you so much for your kind words. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me and, letting people know about this film.
Of
It's such an
course.
important part. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you so
you're so
much.
welcome. Before we wrap up, where can we find out more about the film online, and where can we find you on social media?
I have a website of Homeless, which
Yeah.
is called www.aexor-end, which is exor end, which is my
Yeah.
production house /homeless. So that's the website.
Yep.
We have an Instagram page. If you just if you just search for homeless movie, you
Yeah,
should
it
get
comes right
that.
up.
Yeah, it comes right up. So you can find out more. And you can follow me too on Instagram, which is Shachi S 33 on Instagram. So I keep posting stuff. Yeah, you can find more on all these
Where
platforms.
does the 33 come from? Were you the 33rd person with that name?
No, someone just told me that's like your lucky number. So I'm
Oh,
just
very
putting it
good.
everywhere.
Very good. My email has a 377 on it,
Oh.
and there's no reason for it. I'm guessing at the time I was just like, I'll just that number works. It has no meaning to me. I'm like, why did I pick that?
Yeah. No, I
But
mean, this has no meaning either, but like someone, our industry is full of insecurity. Like, there are so many ups and downs.
that's
So
right.
one person told me, if you put 33, it'll be really good for
I'd
you.
have did it.
So I said,
I would
okay,
totally have done
no
that
harm.
because yeah, if you tell me this will help you, I'll be like, well, I'm not taking any chances. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because what's the
Yeah,
worst
I
that's
mean,
gonna happen? Nothing.
yes, absolutely. If putting the number helps me meet the right person, I'm happy to do that.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, I hope you'll come back for the
Yes.
next one. This has been lovely, and I really do think you're going to do so well with
Oh,
this film. I think it gets made into a full length feature.
yeah.
It
I
just
hope
feels
so.
like it's one of those feel good stories that we need more of.
Yeah, it's so important in today's day and age, especially. So, yeah, I definitely feel I am writing the script.
Yeah.
So I feel that hopefully I'll be pushing, pushing the into a feature. So hopefully that happens.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to all the studios and just tell them you better make this film.
that's right.
Let's
Tell him I said so, and
yes.
I'm sure that'll help you not a bit, but you know.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, all right. Hold on 1 second. Shachi Sharma, talented lady, and I love that she's making projects that interest her. She's like, oh, that would make a good movie, and then she makes the movie. I love that. The current one is called Homeless. You can find it on DirecTV's short channel, which I think's in the 500s. I ran a DirecTV call center for a while. Worked there for quite a bit. I did billing and retention and sales and all the stuff. I'm not spent most of my life in call centers. I'm not a call center fan. That's a very difficult profession, more difficult for the people on the phones than management, but it's no fun for anybody. So happy to be podcasting, but I love the fact that DirecTV has that shorts channel, and Amazon has one as well, and it features a lot of really under the radar excellent projects, and Homeless is exactly that. It won't be under the radar very long. I think this one gets made into a feature film, so keep your eye out for that. Time Out, I think, is still on Netflix. If you haven't seen that one, it's terrific. So definitely check that out. And then keep your eye out for Fat Lady Sriracha. Hopefully that gets out sometime soon. And Milkania, if you're a fan of hers, definitely check out our interview with her. She came on some point last year, but she was lovely. Big fan of hers. Thank you so much for tuning in with us again this week. If you're finding us for the first time, happy that you're here as well. Would love to have your support. It's easy to do. It's free. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, really helps us out. Our website is meistercon.com. You can find, we're going to hit episode 1000 sometime in the next few weeks. You can find all of those audio and video versions on the website, meistercon.com. So please check us out there. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.